Tottenham Hotspur, classic Spurs, another forgettable season, poor league form, a manager out of ideas and then replaced by somebody new, and fans left frustrated once again. Yes, they snatched a Europa League win, but one trophy doesn't make up for the years of failure, wasted transfer budgets, falling short, and losing their star man, Harry Kane. But this is where the rebuild begins. I'm taking charge, and over the next 5 seasons we're bringing Spurs back to the top of English football. This is Football Manager 2024 Spurs Rebuild. Let's get to work. Welcome back guys to the channel, and this is a brand new episode. This is a 5-year rebuild of Tottenham Hotspur, hopefully not being Spursy. So let's go straight into it, and as you can see, we have already started the season off 4th of September, and we started it off pretty darn well. 3 wins and 1 draw, and 10 points. We are sitting in the UEFA Champions League spot. I will take that for the first season, thank you very much. So, as we start off with the transfers, this is not a huge up-to-date database. This is still going off the transfer update from the January transfer window, so I just want to make that clear. It hasn't got all the up-to-date transfers on it. Only some of them. Transfer wise, obviously Spurs are flush. They have 300 million in the bank. I've still got 25 million of the original budget left, but they do have a honking amount of debt thanks to that stadium rebuild, which is still about 800 million strong. Ugh. I doubt I'm going to clear that in 5 years, but that's not one of my targets. My target is just to win more trophies at the end of the day with Spurs. The only way I could do that is signing some players, and here we have it. So if I go and rearrange this, I didn't actually bring a player in for the first season, and I don't think I let a couple of players go out on loan, and that is about it. You still have the likes of Kulusevski, Madison, Solanke and all that all in the team. The tactic I've gone for is pretty bog standard of what Postecoglou would have played, a volante, a DM, wing backs, ball playing defenders, advanced playmaker, pressing forward and all that. And then if we have a look at the actual side of what is picking, we have Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie, Basuma, Bentancur, Kulusevski, Son, Richarlison up front. I don't know whether to shoehorn Solanke in for that. And then Madison out on the right. Plus, obviously, the loan signees of Werner, Tell and Danso are in the side. So that's something, I suppose. It gives a little bit of squad depth. Hopefully they won't get hit with a ton load of injuries this season. Fingers crossed. So, as I say, that's the side. And this is a quick whip through for Season 1 because I just want to get on with this and get this started. And let's see if we can actually win something. Our competitions as well, obviously. Europa League, old table formation before it goes into the new formation. This is where it gets a little bit confusing because it's a transfer update, but it's on the old system. So, it's a little bit strange. I get that. But we do have Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup. Could the Carabao Cup be our saviour? I do not know. But I'm going to run the highlights for season number 1. Let's go and find out how we do in our first season. And then, fingers crossed, we can actually win something. Or are we just going to be completely and utterly Spursy? Let's go and find out, shall we? Season 1 is off and running, and it's fair to say we did better than our real-life counterparts. Despite a whopping 14 draws, it was wins like a 5-0 versus Chelsea and a 4-0 versus Arsenal that helped us secure Champions League football for next season. In the Carabao Cup, it was a penalty shoot knockout early doors, but it was also FA Cup heartbreak. After beating the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal and Villa, we got to the final versus Brighton, only to fluff our lines and lose 3-1. In Europa League, we cruised the group stage, not losing and finishing top. After dispatching Porto and Fenerbahce, it was Roma in the semi-finals. A vintage display winning 4-0 at home secured our place in the final versus PSG. And that's where we were humbled and utterly ripped apart, and we were beaten 5-2. Well, that season couldn't have got any more Spursy if I tried. Oh, damn. That was so close. So close. Okay, let's talk about the league first, quickly. Champions League qualification. I'll take that. The club needs it. The club needs the money. And the fact that we beat out Arsenal for it. Liverpool obviously running away with the title this season. That's good from their perspective. But finishing 4th spot, UEFA Champions League, 20 wins, 14 draws. Too many draws. Way too many draws this season. I'm very, very happy with that. And the fact that we got ahead of some of the bigger teams like Newcastle and Chelsea as well, and Arsenal, that's even better. But competitions-wise, runner-up in the FA Cup and runner-up in the Europa League hurts. Carabao Cup by Man United, that kind of stings a little bit, but the FA Cup, beaten by Brighton. Getting beaten by Brighton in the final is not a good look, especially after beating the likes of Villa and Arsenal. London Derby win, North London Derby win, should I say, and then Burnley. So we've had a tough run in the FA Cup, getting all the way to the final, and Brighton are the ones that do us over. Not much could be said about that. And then we get to the... I mean, this is the problem being on the old format, going through the group stage. Obviously, in the Champions League, going through the qualifying stage or the group stage, PSG must have messed up in the Champions League and got knocked down to the Europa League. And that is just Spurs' bad luck at the end of the day. There was nothing that could be done about that. 5-2 in the final, especially after getting past Roma and Fenerbahce and Porto. It's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, to be fair. It's not. I wanted at least one trophy to start us off with, and we came close to 2. But Spurs being Spurs. Oh, dear me. Okay, so goals. I've already got it sorted. And our top goal scorer was Maddison. 17 and 9. 16 and 2 from Solanke is pretty decent. 15 and 6 isn't too bad from Richarlison, but I still don't rate him. 11 and 9 from Kulusevski. I need more from him. 6 and 3 from Johnson. 6 and 3. Where's Son? 5 and 9 from Son. Porro with 12 assists. 8 assists from Bentancur. 7 assists from Udogie. That's not too bad. So the foundations are there, but I still need more. And the only way I'm going to do that is selling a few players. I'm going to need to clear out a few players, that's for certain, and bring in some more in. A wage budget of nearly $500,000 with 61 million in the bank already. I think Season 2 could be a bit of a spending season. Let's see what happens. So yeah, as I say, let's see what happens. Let's go into Season 2, see if we can correct these errors, and hopefully win a trophy for Season number 2. I'll see you guys in a second. So here we are for Season number 2, and unlike the first season, I haven't zipped ahead. We're on the 10th of August, so we're just about to start the Premier League season, but it has been a pretty busy window. I still have 39, well, nearly 40 million in my transfer budget. We're over 308 million in the bank. The debts and loans have gone down a little bit, but it's the transfers you guys want to see, and that is exactly what we have done. So if I go back and onto that part there, so a few loans before the tick over. Mikey Moore, Lucas Bergvall, Antonin Kinski, goalkeeper that they signed in real life and filled a hole while Vicario was injured. They've all gone out on loan to get game time, and then we roll over. As you can see, I spent 105 million, but we'll come to that in a second because I made another 54. Højbjerg has gone. He went on a free transfer. A lot of loans. Son has gone to Saudi. I wasn't impressed with this season last season. I think he's on the downturn now. So getting, well, actually nearly 65 million for him is absolute steal. So he's gone, and then it was just a load of youngsters. A lot of game time. Solomon has gone as well. Dane Scarlett and Alfie Dorrington, Ashley Phillips. They've all gone on loan. A lot of loans. A few free transfers to free up some wages. But as you can see, spent a lot of money. And the first one I'm actually really, really chuffed with. The Kaiser himself, Thomas Muller.
Das ist gut! Okay, Sunsets. Das ist gut.
I thought, you know what? I'll throw caution to the wind. I've never actually signed him before. I thought, you know what? I'll give him a chance. 35 years old, German, amazing experience. I thought, you know what? If we're going into the Champions League, we could do with some of that experience. His mental attributes are absolutely outstanding. Physically, yeah, he can't run and he can't turn, but he has got very good natural fitness. So he could still do a job for us at the end of the day, and he's more there for the leadership and everything like that. Then another free transfer, in fact a few of them were free transfers. Elia Capriel, another backup goalkeeper. Kinski went out, Capriel came in. I think Capriel's better, to say the least. Brandon Soppy is another one who can cover both full-back positions. 20-year-old Frenchman. Very strong on the right foot, but very good on the left. So as you say, he can play both full-back positions and covers that quite nicely. I could do the same job pretty much as Jed Spence. And then our last free transfer was Rodrigo Ribeiro, who, again, I've signed multiple times on this game. I know he could turn into a pretty good player. Unfortunately, he is injured, out for a couple of weeks. Can I get the best out of him in this side? Hopefully I can, but if not, for the fact that I've signed him for a free transfer and he's now worth up to 30 to 40 million, it's a good bit of business. Daniel Levy would like that. Then started spending some of the money. Luka Vuskovic is actually not my signing. He is already a preordained, I don't know, prearranged transfer that has already done. So he's come in for 12 million, not my money. João Rego is another regular of my signings, but I really like this player. He is probably going to go out on loan this season. He's already got a bid in from Derby and Luton, so he's going to go out and get some game time, but 4.5-star potential ability. I really like this guy. I think he could be the next Ronaldo or something on this game. Then a couple of other players. Obviously Danso, I'm not going to address. He again was a pre-arranged transfer off the loan, but Karim Konate, I've brought in the powerhouse Ivorian striker from Salzburg, 21-year-old, 54 million value now, pace and strength, and can finish. I think he's the striker that we need. And finally, Karim Atakoglu. I think that's how you say it. 40 million from Benfica to replace Son, and I think he's a very good replacement because he's got the agility, he's got the acceleration, he's got great determination off the ball and vision, so he can create, and he's coming into the prime of his career as well. So I think he's a very good replacement for Sonny Boy, who has gone, plus a perfectionist personality, which does not harm things at all. And that is the transfers. Now, if we have a look at the tactics and see what the team is kicking out, pick without restriction. Atakoglu goes out on the left, Kulusevski, Madison, Richarlison still going up front. Bissouma and Bentancur, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie, and Vicario. Now, it might not look like it. I've improved, basically, the players that I've signed, I've improved the depth of the squad. I still think the squad, actually, on paper, is a really good starting 11 and could probably challenge. But it was always to do with the depth, first and foremost, and then I'm going to address some of the players coming in to maybe replace the first teamers. But with that being said, we now want to roll on to Season 2 to see how we get on. We've got Champions League football and obviously the domestic competitions. Let's go and find out how we do. After a dismal start to the season, our form picked up around October, beating the likes of Forest 5-2, Man United 3-1, and Crystal Palace 2-0, and this helped us rescue our season and we finished 6th in the league. In the Carabao and the FA Cup, we're incredibly disappointing. Early exits to Liverpool and Palace. But we had the Champions League football again, with wins like a 5-2 versus Bayern Munich and 3-1 versus Celtic. We qualified for the knockouts. It was Salento of all teams in the knockout rounds, and we cruised past them to face none other than our nemesis PSG again. And again, we were utterly destroyed, 5-1 on aggregate to be knocked out of the Champions League. Well, if there was ever a case for second season syndrome, this season would be it. God, that was abysmal. Not only have we dropped out of the Champions League spots, we're now in the, I think we're in the Conference League spots, but I think all this has to be sorted out, so I won't be entirely sure how we are positioned in Europe until season number 3, which we'll get to in a minute. But the drop off at the end of the season, if we have a look at the schedule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins still weren't enough. A 0-0 draw against Everton and Man United and a 0-0 draw against Newcastle really cocked things up for us. And that seemed to be pretty much the story of the season. Liverpool made it to the Champions League final with Bayern Munich, but knocked out by Palace in the 4th round of the FA Cup, knocked out by Liverpool in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup, and then the Champions League, well, league phase wasn't too bad. Finished in 10th, I think that's quite respectable. 4 wins. Bilbao, Celtic, beating Bayern Munich and Salzburg. 2 draws against Napoli and Frankfurt, and then 2 losses to PSG and AC Milan. I could take that. That's not too bad. And then we go into the playoff round, and Salento. I have no idea what Salento were doing in there, but that was a nice, easy one. And then round of 16, what could be said? We come up against PSG yet again, and we get humped. There's not a lot I could do about that at the moment. That's really quite annoying. But squad-wise, again, this is my main concern. Are these players producing enough? I don't think they are. Now, is it down to my staffing? I don't think it is. I've got maxed out staff here at the moment, the best in the Premier League. So I don't think it's to do with that. I just think it's to do with the players and the personality. Kulusevski 14-3, 14-5 from Solanke, 14-4 from Richarlison. Atakoglu 4-8, 4-10 from Brennan Johnson. That's a better output than Atakoglu. Ugh. Where Konate only started 5 games and scored 2 goals. I do think I've got a little bit to think about here, but we need to move right on to season number 3 because I still have money to spend. Another 70 million, almost, plus some players to sell, I think. Let's rock on to season number 3. Let's go and make some more transfers and see if we can turn our fortunes around and just stop being Spursy. Come on, let's go. Okay, so this time around, I've zipped on. We are now on the 1st of September, so we definitely played a few games. We've won 2, lost 1, 6 points. Not a bad start to the season. But transfer-wise, so I had about 70 million, or near enough 70 million to spend. And yeah, it's been busy again. It has been busy again. So if we have a look at the tick over point, Brandon Soppy went out on loan. Sorry, what's going on there? Sorry, he didn't go on loan. He got sold to Sunderland for 8.5 million. 1 season wonder. Not really a wonder. Kevin Danso, I've sold to Saudi Arabia as well for 11.5 million. Then there were no real movements on the transfer ins because I wanted to see who I could sell first. And then I made another 70 million. So, who was left? Well, Solanke has gone to Saudi Arabia, thank God. 45.5 million, he's gone. Richarlison has gone to Fenerbahce for 11.5 million. See you later. Maynard Solomon has gone to Brentford for 11 million. Alejo Velez has gone to Leeds for 7. Ashley Phillips has left for 3.2. And then just a lot of loans and smaller transfers. And I spent big, but I spent big on 3 class players this time. And I said on season 2, now that I've got the depth a little bit in the squad, I want to start replacing the first team players. The likes of Richarlison and Solanke can knob off now. They're done. But the first main one that I wanted to replace was Vicario, because I don't know about you Spurs fans out there, Vicario just is not a good goalkeeper at all. And I don't feel I'm alone on that opinion. I just don't think he's good. So I needed to replace him, and I went big with a £70 million buy-in of Gregor Kobel from Dortmund. This guy is phenomenal. I've used him on my Dortmund save. I've used him on a couple of other different saves. And I know he is absolutely immense on this game. And he started off really, really well with a 7.1 average rating. So can't complain of that at all. I mean, just look at him. Phenomenal goalkeeper. Then I wanted another striker to team up, swap around with Konate, now that Solanke and Richarlison are both gone. And of course, it's going to have to be Gyökeres, another brilliant striker on the game, 28 years old, bought him in from Sporting for 47.5 million, hasn't scored yet. That's not a good sign. But I think he wasn't a late arrival, he was here for the start of the season. And then one that I did bring in that I had a look at in the January transfer window, contract-wise, Ruben Neves, 29 years old. Perfect. Great deep line playmaker to provide a little bit more creativity more than anything else. As I say, competitions wise, actually it did get sorted out in the end. It wasn't Conference League football. We ended up getting Europa League football again, so step up on competition again. It's not Champions League, but still it will do, and obviously the domestic competitions. Well, there's only one thing for it. Let's roll the highlights of season number 3 and let's see if we can bounce back and actually win something this time. Come on, let's go and have a look. Yet again, it was consistency early in the season that hampered us, but from Christmas things did pick up. Beating Brentford, Brighton and Liverpool eventually secured us another 6th place finish in the league. The Carabao Cup, yet again, is our poison chalice, being knocked out by City on penalties. In the FA Cup, we secured wins early on to face Middlesbrough in the quarter-finals. We beat them 2-0 to face Liverpool in the semis. And again, we fluffed it and lost 3-0. But we also had Europa League football again. We crushed the league phase, winning 7 of 8. Then after dismissing Fenerbahce and AEK Athens, it was a trip to hell in the semi-finals. After losing 2-0, we had it all to do at home. And thanks to a 5-star performance in the first half, we won 3-0 to reach another Europa League final, this time versus Napoli. And in a close game, it was just a single goal that sealed it, and we win the Europa League. Hey! Finally done it. Before we get to the Europa League, let's go and have a look at the league table. Well, it was definitely a season of fine margins when it comes to the league table. Silly 1-0 losses is what seemed to have cost us the most. And missing out on... Well, we actually got Champions League football because we won the Europa League, so we sealed it that way. But we should have done better. I mean, there was only, what's that, 7 points between 6th and 2nd. Man City ran away with the league. But overall, actually, when you look at our schedule, we had a really, especially around January, February and March, we had a really good period there where we were just winning. And then it's just small slip-ups, like losing to Forest, losing to Villa. Silly little things like that, and losing to Palace. It's cost us positions in the table, so that is a little bit annoying to say the least. But as I say, the main one is we finally won a trophy. And we beat Napoli 1-0 in the Europa League after what was actually a bit of a breeze, if I'm honest. We absolutely cruised the league phase, finishing top, 7 wins. Astana, Galatasaray, Porto, Partizan, Kortrijk, Ludogorets and Napoli. Admittedly, that's quite an easy fixture list. And then drawing one against Valencia at home. Would have liked an 8 from 8. Goal difference of plus 20 though. That's not too bad. And then obviously beating Ferencvaros in the round of 16 and quarterfinals, beating AEK. And then semi-finals, beating Galatasaray, and then facing Napoli in the final. Who, Napoli, we have faced every single season in Europe. And we finally got a decent result against them. Yes. I'm well chuffed with that. Other competitions, though, knocked out in the semi-finals of the FA Cup by Liverpool, which, again, that's a little bit annoying, to say the least. 4th round of the Carabao Cup by Man City. It is what it is. Squad-wise, so, goals. Gyökeres, 23. Perfect. Maddison, 20 and 19. Oh my god, that's a hell of a season. Well done, James Maddison. Down arrows all over the place. He has turned 30. He is wanted. Let's have a look. Saudi, obviously. But would it be the time to cash in on Maddison? João Rego inside after his loan the previous season, and he is developing nicely as well. His loan at Derby actually was quite successful. 8 goals and 6 assists, 3 player of the matches last season. And he's done 35 games, 7 goals, 5 assists in the league this year. And overall 10 and 9. So I can't really complain at that. That's a good turnout. Atakoglu, 9 and 9 from him. That's better. Neves, 9 and 6 with a great average rating as well. Assist wise though, it's a little bit more spread out, and I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that Porro, although Porro, if I remember rightly, yes, he did his cruciate ligaments right at the start of the season, so he's missed basically 3/4 of the season. It's one of those things that can't really be helped. But Udogie, 5 assists. I should be getting more out of him for that. I don't understand why I'm not getting more out of him. He's not getting as many assists as I thought he would do. So Vicario apparently is unhappy. I'm not surprised, but when you got Kobal in goal, this is what happens. You start winning things. Always get a decent goalkeeper. Financially, for season number 4, we are rolling in. Oh, the bank balance has taken a hit, but we still have 52 million in transfer budget. Well, there we have it, guys. Let's go into season number 4. Use that £50 million wisely and see if we can make a couple of more improvements to make sure that we can actually win another competition next season. Let's roll into it. Season number 4 coming right up. Well, here we are for season number 4, and check this out. We are top of the league after 4 games. I'll take that. Rebuild is done. Thank you very much. Let's go. Nah, unfortunately, only 4 games in. We can't claim the title on that one, but we have had a very, very good start to the season. But financially wise, we're back up on the bank balance to nearly 300 million in the bank there. 47 million still in the transfer budget, so there's been a lot of wheeling and dealing again. So if we go back on one, no players in before the tick over, and only a few players went out. Kinski went on a free transfer all the way to Mexico. Okay. And another one has gone out on loan. But then we made another 108 million on player sales. A lot of loans, and it was just 2 big sales, really. Maddison has gone. He went to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia on 800 grand a week. That is ridiculous. But when they were offering 68 million, I think in total it goes up to 75 for a 30-year-old who's going to be turning 31. I couldn't turn that down. And then Atakoglu has gone to Al Nassr as well, 36 million. His transfer really didn't work out the way I expected it, to be fair. We bought him for 40, we sold him for 36. 2 bang average seasons. I am actually a little bit disappointed at that, to say the least. But not with the players that I brought in. Oh, no, no, no. So, I have spent a lot of money again, 94 million, but I think it is worthwhile players. So the cheapest one of the lot was Harvey Elliott from Liverpool. He was transfer listed at that price. And I thought, you know what a better replacement for Maddison than the little left wing magician, or say left-footed magician, of Harvey Elliott. I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. And he's excellent on the game, so I thought, yes, get him in. And he loves the big games. He's very consistent, so hopefully he'll do a job for us. Now, another player who was actually signed for Chelsea in real life from Sporting Lisbon, Giovanni Quenda. What a rapid winger he is. Left-footed, inside forward. He is actually going to replace Maddison on the wing, I think. He is electric. Dribbling is 16, but his pace, agility and balance is incredible. I'm expecting big things from him, and he started really well. 3 starts, 2 goals, 1 assist. Can't complain of that. And then, the one and the only, João Neves, has come in as another player just to give Bissouma and Bentancur a kick up the backside. Him and Neves in the central midfield will be absolute ballers. Although, weirdly enough, on this save, he hasn't developed as much as I have seen him in the past. But he is still an absolutely outstanding player. And the fact that I brought him in for 48 million is incredible. And a resolute world-class midfielder. Tippy-top. Absolutely tippy-top. Let's go and have a quick look at the tactics, because nothing's changed again. I've actually put Neves in to replace Bentancur. I need him to play every single game possible. And Elliott in that central attacking midfield role, where I think he is best. Is most creative best, to say the least. But if I pick without restriction, it takes him out. Sarr comes into that point. Kulusevski comes into that point. I'm not too happy with that, to say the least. Although the side is looking very solid. Rego goes into that left wing spot now, which is great. Gyökeres goes into that spot there. So I can't really complain of that. And I'll just clear that for a second. Right. That is the transfer business concluded as season number 4. If we have a look at the club vision as well, they're still pretty happy with me. I got a B- all the way through, so things are going in the right direction. Coaching courses, nothing really changed because you don't need to expand the stadium. It's just more so the... As I say, there's nothing much going on with the youth recruitment or facilities because all the facilities are right up there, so I don't really need to make too many improvements to that. And on a 5-year rebuild, I'm not going to invest too much in the youth facilities because you just really don't get the best out of them until you come to like the 5th season, so I haven't really paid much attention to that. But without further ado, let's go and roll the season 4 highlights and let's go and see if we can capitalise on our success from last season and take it up a notch for this season. Let's go and find out, shall we? Consistency, consistency, consistency is still the main issue in the league. Win, loss, draw, time and again. But a 4-3 versus Everton, a 5-0 versus Luton, and a 3-0 versus Fulham helped secure us a 5th place finish eventually. Yet again, the Carabao Cup is a no-go after losing 3-2 versus United. And in the FA Cup, however, it was a different story. After dispatching Everton, Derby and Leeds, we beat Ipswich on penalties. We destroyed Nottingham Forest in the semi-finals 4-1 to reach the final and face Norwich. A difficult game which we dominated, but 3 goals in the last 10 minutes meant we won the FA Cup. In the Champions League, we finished 12th in the league stage after beating Juventus and Porto. It was Copenhagen in the knockouts, who we comfortably beat 3-1 on aggregate. And it was Bayern Munich next. And in a tight affair, unfortunately, we lose 2-1 on aggregate to get knocked out of the Champions League. Well, in all honesty, I don't really know how to feel about that season. Because we finished the league season in 5th place. Europa League qualification, although I suspect we'll probably get Champions League qualification, fingers crossed. But we threw it away again at the end of the season. 69 points, a loss and a draw in our last 5 games meant we lost out to Chelsea in that guaranteed spot. It's not good enough. Competitions-wise, well, Champions League, round of 16 by Bayern Munich. That's a little bit disappointing. I was hoping to get at least one step further on that. UEFA Super Cup, we'll run us up there, but that doesn't really matter. Fourth round of the Carabao Cup by Man United. But the FA Cup, I'm actually really happy with. Finally got a bit of English silverware. Beating Norwich in the final, 3-0, which is perfect. Absolutely perfect. After beating Forest 4-1. Knocking Ipswich out on penalties in the quarterfinals. Fifth round, beating Leeds 1-0. Fourth round, after a replay. So we did it the hard way, to say the least. Let's have a look at the squad. Well, 29 goals from Gyökeres is perfect. 12 and 8 on his debut season from Quenda. 12 and 10 from Rego. 12 and 13 from Ruben Neves. 11 and 9 from Kulusevski. Elliott, 6 and 13. That's what I wanted. 9 and 7 from Dragusin. And 7 and 3 from Johnson. Shout out to Brennan Johnson, actually. He's been a bit of an unsung hero. 2.5, 3-star ability all the way through the squad. Obviously joined and has been more of just a squad player, because you look at his season here, only 2 starts in the league, 7 last season, 7 the season before, 11 the season before that. So he's not a guaranteed starter, but he's still picking up nearly 30 games a season, and he's still contributing. Vital contributions at the end of the day. So thank you very much, Mr. Brennan Johnson. You've done well. He is wanted now, though, by Brighton. Maybe time to cash in on him? I don't know, because his game time is going to drop even more with Quenda being on the right wing. That's the thing. Any more decent assists? Well, Sarr got 8. That's not too bad. And let's say 13 from Elliott. Doggy got 7. That's a little bit better. And Porro got 7 assists this season as well. That's not too bad at all. Transfer-wise, well, the transfer budget was sitting at 51 million. Almost up, well, over 350 million in the bank account. Debts and loans is dropping nicely, but it's never going to get there for the final season. And speaking of the final season, let's go to season number 5. Let's go and spend that money, and fingers crossed we can win another trophy. Maybe get into the Champions League, maybe win another European trophy. Let's go and find out and see what happens in season number 5. And here we are for season number 5, and first of all, I just want to say thank you very much if you have continued to watch this all the way through. Please don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying this content, and go and have a look at the other videos that I've been doing. Some really, really good series on there. I'm actually quite proud of the work and the progression that I've made on this in myself, because this is all done by myself. I'm not going to toot my own horn, because I know there's still plenty of improvements to be made, but I'm actually quite happy with the stuff that I'm producing at the moment. But let's get back to the game in hand. So the game in hand is that we are season number 5. We have this season only to win something big. Now, schedule-wise, we are in the Europa League again, so no Champions League football this season. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way with the league table. If we go back to the last season, yes, we stayed in the Europa League because we just haven't been good enough in Europe, which is weird, to say the least, because usually on this game, we get 5 or 6 spots for the Champions League every single season, but not this time. But transfer-wise, well, I've still got 50 million in there, because it's been a busy one again. It's been a busy one. So no players in again before the save point, but a few players had gone out before that point. Ribeiro has finally gone to Norwich. It didn't work out. He didn't develop the way I was hoping he would, and he's gone to Norwich to get more game time for 6 million. So I'm quite happy with that. But then another 122 million in sales. This is great business, by the way. The biggest shock actually was Christian Romero. 30 years old, obviously cup captain, mental attributes out the yin yang, technical attributes, fantastic central defender. But Al Hilal came in with that £80 million bid. I couldn't really turn it down. So I thought, you know what, I'll cash in, I'll spend it wisely somewhere else. Ruben Neves, well, I bought him on a free transfer. He spent 2 seasons with us, I think it is. 2 seasons with us. Produced a hell of a lot last season. 10 goals, 11 assists, 5 player of the matches. And then he goes back to Saudi Arabia. Goes back to Saudi Arabia for 30 million. Great profit again. It's perfect. Vicario has gone to Inter Milan. Finally got rid of him. Basuma has gone to Al Ettifaq, however you say it. 12 million, plus a lot of free transfers and loans again. The 3 players that I bought in. Well, the cheapest one of the lot was Thibaut Lebail. Not going to be a starter. He is just a right back regen. I wanted to get a little bit more backup behind Porro. And I think, actually, you know what? He's pretty decent. 5-star potential ability. So I think he'll do a job for us this season already. To replace Romero and also just bolster up the defensive line a little bit, well, I brought in Aruna Sangante. What a rock this guy is. I've never bought him before. I've never even seen him before. Comes through, I believe, Le Havre. Yeah, comes through Le Havre. Went to Barcelona, then went to PSG, and then has come to us. Great aggression, anticipation, and positioning for a central defender. That is exactly what you need. And marking as well. Brilliant. And he's got the physical attributes to back it up, and very quick and very strong. So he's definitely one to watch out for. And the other one, of course, Mark Gahey. 75 million from Crystal Palace, but he is now our club captain, in the prime of his career, 4-star, great consistency, loves the big games. What more could be said? He's a really, really good centre-back on this game. And if we have a look for the final time at the team that comes in as the best 11, well, this is how it lines up now. Kobal, Van der Ven, Dragusin, so Gahey doesn't even get in the side, or Sangante, Porro and Udogie, Sarr and Bentancur, Kulusevski, Quenda, Rego and Gyökeres. But the depth that we have now on the bench is even better. So there is a lot of good rotational options there. But as I say, this is the 5th and final season. I want to win at least one more trophy to even call this rebuild a success. Is it successful? Well, let's go and find out and see what happens in the final season. Come and join me. This season was the final roll of the dice, and we were immense. Battering Leicester 9-0, Newcastle 5-0, and Arsenal 4-1, only losing 4 games all season in the league, meaning we have been crowned Premier League champions. In the Carabao Cup, yep, you guessed it, another early round knockout on penalties yet again. And in the FA Cup, it was even more disappointment, losing our first game 1-0 to Leeds. In Europa League, however, we were dominant, winning 7 of 8, crushing Sporting 3-2, and Ferencváros 4-0 on our way to finishing top of the league stage. In the round of 16, it was Valencia, who we battered 6-2 on aggregate. Then, onto Olympiacos, who we knocked out 6-1 to face Rennes in the semi-finals, who we utterly dominated 5-0 to reach another Europa League final, this time versus Aston Villa. And in a tight affair, with goals early and late in each half, we rolled out victorious to win our 2nd Europa League title. I don't need to say anything. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tottenham Hotspur are your Premier League champions at the 5th time of asking. Whew. Thank God for that. I was seriously debating whether this rebuild was going to be successful just with a couple of cup competitions. I really, really wanted to win at least one league title, and I have done that. And what a season we have had. Didn't start off the best. Looking at the past positions, we started off and then we just had to climb. And then around Christmas time, I think it was. Yeah, exactly on Christmas time, Boxing Day, we got top of the league and we didn't let it go. And that is exactly what I wanted. Only conceded 20 goals this season, scored 93. 93 goals. That's incredible. We have a look at the player stats, player overview. Gyökeres up there, 2nd highest goal scorer. Musiala's at Liverpool, unsurprising. But if we have a look through this, okay, Gyökeres in the goal scorers. Yellow cards, Bentancur, penalties, Gyökeres. Quenda is in there. Team goals, they're all in there as well. Looks like Gyökeres had a brilliant season. But other competitions wise, well, we only went and did a double. Winners of the Europa League yet again. So that is, have a look at the past winners. 1 final and 2 Europa League wins. Very, very happy with that. After beating Aston Villa in the final as well. Semi-finals, knocking out Rennes. Ha ha ha. Quarter-finals. Olympiacos. Battered them. Round of 16. Valencia. Battered them as well. Not really any challenges there. League phase, finishing top of the league phase again. So I can't really fault it. We deserved to win it. We finished top of the league and we trounced everybody that was in our path. And yeah, okay. In fact, actually, that's a deserving final. Spurs and Villa finished in the top 2, in my eyes, and we ended up rolling out winners. Can't complain of that at all. Third round of the FA Cup and quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup is very disappointing. But at the same time, that may have been a blessing in disguise. Getting knocked out of 2 cup competitions left our league season a little bit more clear, combined with the Europa League side of things, so I think that definitely helped. Let's have a look at the squad. Well, Gyökeres, what a signing he has been. This is the goal scorer that Spurs have been looking for. 11 in his first season, okay, not too good. 23 in all though, actually that's not too bad. 17 league goals, 29 in his second season, and then 23 league goals, 34 across all competitions in 53 games. The guy is just a born goal scorer on this game. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, and he is now wanted. Not going to be too much bother for me because this is the final season. Saudi Arabia are calling. Quenda, another 19 and 8. Kulusevski, 16 and 15. 12 and 3 for Endrick. Endrick's inside? Well, Endrick, I actually brought in. In fact, actually, let's have a look at the transfers. We'll do it this way. Endrick got brought in the January transfer window. I came back in the January transfer window because I thought, you know what, the old adage of strike while the iron is hot. Reinforce and strengthen when you're on top. We got on top at Boxing Day and we were still top of the league by the time the January transfer window opened. And I thought, you know what, I want to just solidify this. Endrick was on the transfer list, 57 million. I brought him in for just this half of the season and he got 12 goals, 3 assists in 14 starts. Can't really fault that. Admittedly, his consistency is a little bit wild, but he does love the big games. And just look at him. The physicals, the mentals, and the... for 22 years old. If he lives up to this promise in real life, he's going to be an absolute baller. He really, really is. Also, on top of that, we had Jalrego, 8 and 13. 8 and 7 from Wilson Odobert, who actually went out on loan every single season during this rebuild. And I brought him back in, and he's actually come in with some decent contributions. 8 and 2 from Harvey Elliott. Karim Konate, only 6 and 1. 10 assists from Udogi. Dragusin, 14 assists. Wow. And 16 assists from Pedro Porro. Can't really knock that at all. Financially wise, well, still 350 million in the bank. Obviously, Spurs are going to be going into the Champions League next season. £30 million transfer budget. That's the lowest that we've had. But the debts have been reduced down by about 200-ish million, something like that. Which isn't too bad at all. And there we have it, folks. That is the end of the Spurs rebuild. And I would say an FA Cup, a couple of Europa Leagues, and a league title. I'd call that a successful rebuild. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the Leicester rebuild that came out last week. And I will leave a link for that here. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Ta-ra.